sticky glazed spiced ham. Oh, this one is such a treat, guys, and served with the creamiest potato salad. Do you know what makes all the difference here? And that is that marinade. This here is my ultimate Christmas ham spread. So in my household, guys, nothing says Christmas more than a glazed baked ham. I guess it's an Australian kind of thing that we do, but wow, everyone should be doing it. It's so good. Now this ham is very special. It is the culmination of like years of ham making. It is my actual ultimate ham recipe, and I'm going to do things a little bit differently to what you might have seen before. Stay tuned. I'm going to show you all the tips and tricks. First up, we're going to prepare the ham. So let's talk about the ham. Now I prefer a whole smoked ham with the bone in. The bone part kind of provides a little bit of a handle later on. You'll see what I mean. All right, so take your ham, and what we need to do here is take the skin off, but leave the layer of fat that's there. So start off by just doing a little ring around your handle. So just cut around here, and then go to the other side of the ham down the bottom here, make a little cut just underneath the skin, and then now you really want to get your hands dirty. So just get your finger under here and separate the skin from the layer of fat. Try and do it in a really neat way without gouging too many bits out of the fat, because the fat's actually what is going to be the kind of top layer, the beautiful top layer of our ham. So keep going right over the top here, and you should be able to take that skin off in one piece. Now the skin is something you really want to keep a hold of, because you're probably not going to eat the whole ham all at once, or you might, but if you're going to be storing your ham over Christmas, you want to keep the skin to put over the top so it doesn't dry out. So keep a hold of that. Now we come to the scoring part. So this part's really important because it's going to affect the look of your ham at the end. So this is where you decide, do I want a diamond pattern? Do I want a stripe pattern? Do I want no pattern at all? I'm going to go with a nice clean line pattern this year. So I'm going to start off about here and do one stroke where I know I've got the right angle. And then now about a centimeter spacing, I just want some nice straight lines all the way across. So that is your ham prepped and ready to go. Now I'm going to put this guy onto a tray lined with lots of foil. So usually with a glazed ham, we do a bit of decoration, maybe poke some cloves in there, some cherries with some toothpicks, and then it gets a glaze and it goes in the oven. So this year I'm doing things a little bit differently. So one of the traditional ways to prepare a glazed ham is to have whole cloves stuck into the ham, or little half cherries with a toothpick in it. And one of the complaints I got every Christmas, I mean everyone loves to be a critic, right? But every Christmas there'd always be the person who would say, I chomped into a piece of clove, or I've got to pull the toothpick out. And so I thought, how can we fix this? I want the flavor of the cloves, and I want to add more flavor into the actual meaty part of the ham, rather than there just being a glaze sitting on top. So of course, a marinade is the answer to all of those problems. And can I say, it adds so much flavor. I mean, I don't even know why I didn't think of it before, but now it's an essential every year. Now let's get on to making the marinade. I want some ginger first of all. And some garlic. And some Asian shallots. Look, you could use red onion or French eschalots as well. Just roughly chop those. And I want some red chilies here as well. These guys are not hot. They're just going to provide more of a kind of capsicum, bell pepper kind of flavor, but you could make it spicy if you want to. And now for the spices. So we've got a really big hunking piece of meat here. So we really need to go with some really strong, in your face kind of spices. And I want spices that remind me of Christmas. And to me, Christmas smells like allspice. So that's going to go in. And then of course, because you know I love to add Asian flavors to whatever it is I'm cooking, I'm adding some Chinese 5-spice. And actually the Chinese 5-spice brings a really beautiful, unique flavor to the ham itself. I really love it. And some ground cloves. And then now some brown sugar as well. And now a couple of ingredients that I think really help to get all our big marinade flavors into the ham itself. First of all, some vinegar. This is malt vinegar. And now some spiced rum. So the spiced rum is actually going to add a little bit of flavor, and the alcohol itself is a really good carrier of flavor molecules. So that's going to help when the alcohol seeps into the ham with all those spices. It's going to carry all that flavor in there. But if you wanted to leave the rum out, you could just add apple juice instead. And you want a little bit of salt here too. Now we just want to blend everything up. Let's have a look. And oh, you know, it really does smell like Christmas when I make this marinade. All those spices, oh, and the spiced rum. Yum. Now spoon our marinade mix over your ham. Things are going to get messy here, guys. Just get in there with your hands and rub the mixture all over. Make sure you get some underneath as well. Now pour the liquid. Make sure you've got lots of liquid coming out all over the top of the ham, because that's what's going to seep through into those little score marks that we've made. Now just wrap your ham up really nice and snug. Now if you can be super organized, try and get your ham into the fridge overnight. If you're doing things last minute, look, 2 hours is going to do. So of course, as you guys would know who have been long-time watchers of my channel, I like to confuse things a little bit sometimes with my dishes and flavors, and that's just because purely being a little bit Thai and a little bit Australian, you know, a few Asian ingredients seem to make their way into my more Western dishes. So that's why we're seeing things like ginger and Chinese 5-spice and chilies in my glazed ham recipe. So time to do our glaze, and I like to keep things really simple here. I start off with a fruit base, so a jam and a juice. You could go with whatever kind of fruit that you like. I've done peaches, I've done blackcurrant, I've done raspberry. This year I'm doing cherry, so I've got some dark cherry jam and some cherry juice. And to give our glaze some sweetness and some body so it kind of sticks and clings to the ham while it bakes, I need some brown sugar and some soy sauce, because that's going to give us not just a salty flavor but a bit of an umami flavor as well. And some whole star anise, because that's going to infuse our glaze with a really beautiful, unique Asian flavor. Now just bring this up to a simmer. I like to simmer it for about 5 minutes or so, just to let the star anise do its work and to dissolve all of that sugar. So now let's take a look at our ham. This guy has been getting nice and tasty under that marinade. Now all of this stuff has already done its job. All of that flavor is in there, all of that liquid is seeped into our ham. So I just want to brush the kind of roughage off. Now pop your ham onto another tray lined with foil, and then I like to wrap the bone end of the ham in some foil. Again, that creates a bit of a handle for us at the end. Now let's have a look at our glaze. All right, that's looking good. I'm just going to pour it out into a bowl. And now the fun part, well, I find it fun anyway, but brush that glaze onto your ham. And now this goes into the oven about 45 minutes. You want to be basting it every 5 minutes, 10 minutes. You cannot baste it enough. The actual ham itself is cooked, so it's not about cooking the ham, it's actually about getting that beautiful lacquering of glaze on the top. Now, to go with our epic ham, we want to have the ultimate potato salad. And for me, there is nothing more ultimate than a Japanese style potato salad. It's kind of like a mix between a mash and a potato salad. Creamy, delicious, yum. Okay, let's get started on an ingredient that you might think is a little odd for a potato salad, but we're going to make some pickled vegetables. Yes, pickled vegetables, they're going to add tang and crunch to the salad. Really worth it. So I want some cucumber first of all. I'm using a Japanese cucumber here, but any kind of very small cucumber is what you want. Very thin slices too. And then you also want some shredded carrot and a good sprinkling of salt here. Now get in there with your hands and give everything in there a nice little massage. You want to kind of squeeze that salt into the vegetables. And these only need about 10 minutes, which is good timing because I've got some potatoes cooking here that should be done in about that time. There are so many different ways you can serve your ham. Simply with some bread rolls is perfectly fine, but I do like to have a little side option, and for me, a Japanese style potato salad is just one of those joyful things on its own, really, but it provides the perfect partner in crime to a glazed ham because it's got that creamy richness. It goes so well when you're being luxurious with your food at Christmas time. Okay, potatoes are looking good. Now you want these really tender, more tender than you would for a normal potato salad, because unlike regular potato salad, the characteristic of a Japanese one is sort of that little bit of creamy mash texture. So you want these to kind of disintegrate a bit when we go to stir them. Now I like to mix everything through while the potatoes warm because they kind of soak up more of the flavor that way. So get your vegetables that we've had sort of soaking in that salt and squeeze out the liquid. You can see they've softened up beautifully in just that short amount of time. And now for all the flavorings. So I'm going to use a Japanese style mayonnaise here called Kewpie mayonnaise. It has a really lovely kind of tang to it, which I love, but any good creamy mayonnaise you have is also fine. And I've got some chopped up egg, some spring onion, and I want a little dash of hot mustard here. And then my little secret ingredient is a little dash of vinegar, again to bring out the tanginess in the vegetables and the mayonnaise. As I keep saying, this should be a creamy mash kind of potato salad. Can you guys hear that sound, that kind of squelching? Yes, that is the sound of a really good Japanese potato salad. Look at how creamy that is. Let me just try it out. Make sure it's good. I always have to stop myself from eating the entire bowl before I get it out to everyone. That is so good, yum. Creamy, tangy, and then you've got that crunchy vegetable in there. Maybe I'll just steal one more mouthful. Now just get that out onto my serving plate. Now I like to add a little bit of spice here, totally optional, but I'm going to use a Japanese sashimi togarashi, also known as 7 spice. It's got things like, chili powder, sesame seeds, some other little fragrant bits and pieces. And I just love the color too. Just sprinkle that everywhere. And there you go, potato salad done. If you're doing this one in advance, just pop some cling film over the top, put it in the fridge. It'll keep for about a day, so no need to do it at the last minute. So now let's take a look at our ham. Oh, what a little thing of beauty this is. Look at that sticky glaze. Oh, just slightly charry at the edges. This reminds me so much of Chinese barbecue as well. Oh, okay, so let's get this out onto a plate. You need a little bit of muscle here. Okay, so before we get to the slicing and eating part, let's have a look at all my bits and pieces. I have my potato salad. I like to also serve this with some bread rolls for, mopping up all the sticky ham goodness, or for making little ham sandwiches. And I also like some mustard as well. Let's dig in and have a look. That just looks perfect to me. For me, thin slices of ham are always good. My husband can literally eat his body weight in ham at Christmas time, so I try and control that, pull him back a little bit with serving him some thinner slices. It also means that your ham goes a long way. So my 5 kilo ham today is great for 10, 15, 16 people to all be sharing. So it's a great way to feed lots of people at Christmas time, or one very hungry husband. And that, my friends, is literally Christmas on a plate in my household. There's no Christmas without ham. There's no ham without Christmas. A little bit of mustard. Let me see. Do you know what makes all the difference here? And that is that marinade. So many ham recipes don't have the marinade, and I don't always do the marinade, but wow, when you do, you just get that beautiful cascade of spices, the allspice, the Chinese 5-spice, the cloves, plus the sweetness from our glaze. Perfection. So good. On that creamy potato salad, I mean, it's just nothing better. Yum. Hey friends, I hope you enjoyed that very Merry Christmas special. And the good news is that I've got more delicious holiday stuff to cook for you guys. So come back next Saturday and watch the next very Merry Christmas special episode. See you then.